Good morning. My name's Heather Grinrod. This is my husband, Chris. We've been at the Academy for 17 years. We started going here when our now 21-year-old started preschool. And we really wanted the religious aspect in our children's schooling. So
we didn't have a lot of choices then. We lived in Regalsville, Pennsylvania, and we had a choice between, I think, Easton and St. John the Baptist before it was Regina Academy. And it came down to, for me, I'm pretty sure it was the fact that we wanted the crucifix hanging in the schoolroom for them. The school was, doing well. There was no issues. All that came later with the diocese wanting to close the school. But it was a good choice for us right off the bat. We didn't have like friends in the school or anything like that at the time, but it seemed to be a very good fit for us as a family then. But we'll have one child in the school after this year. He's in 5th grade now, so we'll have a combined 20 years, in the school. So we've seen it go through, a lot of changes over those years.
Improvements, definitely improvements.
Yeah, trying times too, along the way to those improvements. I know when Common Core came along, that was an issue, and the biggest one, of course, is the diocese planning to close the school. And what I came away with from that was, as much as it could be kind of a moment of despair, with the future of your child's, education at stake. I saw families come out and, just do so much beyond what you would see at any other, school that, they just devoted themselves financially, with their time. And they didn't do it for praise or anything. They just did it for the love of the school and the love of their children. And that was very, for me, it sealed the deal, so to speak, of why we're here. I mean, I saw, children being, treated like they really, really did matter. And families, putting everything at stake to keep them in this school. So in our days now, it's almost like social persecution for being Catholic. It seems. I love that we're here, and I love what I see. Everybody watching this. I hope you feel the same way, because this is a special place. You should enroll your children in the academy because we are holding on to the foundations of really what our forefathers laid out. We're on solid ground with what our beliefs, our virtues, our education. It's driven by classical education principles, not something new. So we don't really offer change. We offer staying with what works here. So we're not going on the loose ground that I personally see society treading on these days. We're working with what works, and we're sticking to it. So
the classical curriculum, I saw the changes in my children. They really enjoy learning, and if we can instill that in our children, the joy of learning, that is so good to have that even throughout their high school years, and carry that throughout your whole life. Yes, we did see spiritual growth in our children. I think they take it very personally and enjoy the fact that they're Catholic and take pride in it.
I think our whole family has benefited from that. Just being involved with so many of the families here at St. John's, at the Academy. So, we've benefited as a whole. As far as like, it would be a contrast. It'd be like It's a Wonderful Life sort of thing. You'd have to go back and see what would have been without going here. We see our children have developed relationships with other children that I would say probably wouldn't have happened. They have long-term relationships with other friends that share the same. I could use one example, and it would be something that my memory doesn't work so well. Maybe I just don't recall everything. But a recent event would be that our daughter Nora, who went here, the whole way through, she's in college now, Penn State, and she challenges her friends on issues like abortion and why it's wrong, and why it's affecting us culturally in a negative way. So that kind of education doesn't come out of a public school. So I'd say, and maybe not even from all Catholic schools, but it certainly does come out of this school. So there's be one point I could offer out that was significant.
Being a mom and getting involved in every aspect of your child's life, having the continuation of your principles and your morals after they go onto the bus and leave you for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is very important. Rather than learning about theology and math and sciences and history, English, they put their social justice prerogatives in there, and that should be taught at home, not at schools, not at the public school level.
We avoid the BuzzFeed.
Yes.
You have 5
We
children.
have 5 children, and 2 are still in the academy for this year. And
they are?
Duncan, 21. Nora, 19,
going on 30.
both in college. We have Anna, who's at Archbishop Wood, a sophomore. We have Luke, who's an 8th grader at St. John's. And we have Mead, who's a 5th grader at St. John's.
The kids really seem to like the curriculum a lot more. I think they're getting more from it than they were before it changed to the classical curriculum.
Yeah, the changes that we see, since we have the continuity from the past to the Regina Academy, St. John the Baptist, definitely we got drawn in closer to the school to help facilitate what went down. All the parents that were part of it did, got there were a bunch of families that got very involved to quote unquote save the school. But the curriculum definitely changed. They went from really a Common Core curriculum is where we were heading to the classical education model, and there was more of an effort to make sure the staff that their beliefs and values were in line with traditional Catholic education. So those were, kind of the whole foundation of the school was somewhat made over as a result of the diocese really forcing the issue. It created an opportunity, in a sense, for people to step in and go, okay, this is what we think we should be doing, and it's really consistent with the way we were raised and taught. So, like I said earlier, it's really not offering any kind of change. It's just offering sticking to the path. We're in our little family that we're trying to fill the education requirement for our children. We're trying to develop them as human beings, so that in the end, this is it's kind of a, it's sort of a, I'm not slamming anybody, but everybody talks about getting their kid into their child into the, premier, intellectual institution, right? The best high schools, the best colleges. And we want our children to develop intellectually as well, obviously. We feel as though the academy is satisfying that requirement. But I always say, I'm kind of really hoping I just get my kid into heaven. I want them to go to heaven. In the end, as people, our souls, that's really what's on the line, in this life. And it's not so much a deeply religious matter. It's just a fact. So we want our children to be taught as much as we can give them that happens in the end. Awaken the spirit. Awaken the spirit.